Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupada Namhamsa Parivajapacharya Ashtadharishadha Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Jagat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, 8th Canto, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations, Chapter 3, Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, Text 12. Please repeat after me. Namaha Shantaya Gauraya Mudaya Gunaya, just joke. Guna Dharmine Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Namo Gana Ganaya Cha Namo Shantaya Gauraya Udaya Gunadharmine Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Namo Jnana Ganaya Cha Namo Shantaya Gauraya Mudaya Gunadharmine Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Namo Jnana Ganaya Cha Nama Shantaya Goraya Buddhaya Gunadharmine Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Namo Jnana Ganaya Cha Anyone else? We need at least 3. Okay, word by word. Namaha. All obeisances. Shantaya. Unto He who is above all material qualities and completely peaceful. Or unto Vasudeva, the super soul in every living entity. Gauraya. Unto the fierce forms of the Lord like Jamadagnya and Nrsingadev. Mundaya, the form of the Lord as an animal, such as the boar. Gunadharmane, who accepts different qualities within the material world. Nirvisheshaya, who is without material qualities, being fully spiritual. Samyaya, Lord Buddha, the form of nirvana, wherein the material qualities stop. Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances. Jnana Ganaya, who is knowledge or the impersonal Brahman. Cha, also. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading. To the Lord's fierce form as Lord Nrsingadev, to the Lord's form as an animal, Lord Varahadev, to Lord Dattatreya, who preached impersonalism, to Lord Buddha, and to all the other incarnations. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has no material qualities, but who accepts the 3 qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance within this material world. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Purport. In the previous verses, it has been described that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material form, He accepts innumerable forms to favor His devotees and kill the demons. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that they are like the waves of a river. The waves of a river flow incessantly, and no one can count how many waves there are. Similarly, no one can calculate when and how the different incarnations of the Lord appear according to the necessities of time, place, and candidates. The Lord appears perpetually. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4:7, Yada yada hidharmasya glanir bhaviti bharata abhuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam shajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. In the material world, there is always the possibility of deviation from Krishna consciousness, and therefore Krishna and his devotees always act in various forms to curb such godlessness. Even impersonalists who stress the knowledge feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead want to merge in the effulgence of the Lord. Therefore, here the word jnana, gnaya, indicates that for atheists who disbelieve in the form and existence of the Lord, all these various incarnations appear. Since the Lord comes to teach in so many forms, no one can say that there is no God. The word jnana, gnaya, is especially used here to refer to those whose knowledge has become solidified by dint of their searching for the Lord through speculative philosophical understanding. Superficial knowledge is useless for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when one's knowledge becomes extremely intense and deep, one understands Vasudeva, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. A jnani attains this stage after many, many births. Therefore, the word jnana gnaya is used here. The word shantaya indicates that Lord Vasudeva is situated in everyone's heart, but does not act with the living entity. Impersonalist jnanis realize Vasudeva when they are fully mature in knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kritavachalam Pangam Langayate Grim Yakripadamahan Bande Shri Gurun Diditaranam Vansha Kapadri Bishcha Kripa Sindhu Beva Chapati Danam Pavane Beva Vaishnave Beva Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation. Once again, I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading, to the Lord's fierce form as Lord Nrsingadev, to the Lord's form as an animal, Lord Varahadev, and to Lord Dattatreya, who preached impersonalism, to Lord Buddha, and to all the other incarnations. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has no material qualities, but accepts the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance within this material world. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Says Gopi Purana Dana Prabhu mentioned in one of his books. He highlights this word namaha, and na means not, and maha means mind, so not mind. So when we offer obeisances, when we're offering obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, or when we're offering obeisances to our spiritual master, or when we're offering obeisances to the deities, namaha, we're acknowledging that the body, this body, is not ours, and specifically that the body is meant for their service. And if we think about that deeply, we could see that everybody is engaged in their mind and their body and their words in service. Everyone is serving. Many people, they engage their mind and body and words in the service of their loved ones, for example. Maybe a good father or a good mother. Let's just start with the father. Maybe a good father, he works very hard. He's expending all the energy of his body for his children, to make money, to provide for his children, for his family. Similarly with the words, he's using all his energy in terms of speaking, because he may have to attend so many meetings or whatever and speak so much, speak a lot. In this way, he's engaging in this power of speech. His mind, he has to, come up with all these different plans and schemes and this and that to make money and support his family. So that's an example. He's engaging his mind, his body, and his words in the service of his family. And we call such people grihamedis, materialistic. Specifically people who do that, who have no tinge of Krishna consciousness, no worldly people who have grihamedis or materialistic householders. And there's a certain result that's achieved by engaging your mind and body and words in that way. And that is you just remain trapped in the forest of material existence, which the 5th canto explains. It gives some very graphic details of the grihamedi and their entrapment in the material forest, comparing family members to certain living entities, and it's a whole description there in the 5th canto, very graphic, and how the living entity is suffering in that material forest. So that's the result. And as we were discussing recently, nirvana, or to what is it? To leave the forest? Is that what we're leaving the forest? So yes, or as that saying goes, you're not out of the woods yet, means you're still in trouble. You could still be harmed by some animal, or killed, or shot by a hunter on accident, or whatever. You're not out of the woods yet. So yeah, by engaging our mind and our body and our senses in the service of Maya in different forms, we remain in the material forest, trapped. But the instructions of the spiritual master, the instructions of Krishna, you have Krishna's instruction, the spiritual master repeats them. So those instructions, they act like a moon, one stuck in that forest. So these instructions act like a moon, and they illuminate the path out of the forest. Sometimes, like Premi Bhakti Chandrika, this is a book by Narottam Das Thakur. It's a wonderful book. Actually, you find the song we sing every day to Srila Prabhupada at 7:20 a.m. every day. You find that song there, and it actually continues. There's some more verses to it that we don't sing for whatever reason. But it's a very beautiful book, Narottam Das Thakur. So Premi Bhakti Chandrika means the right moonlight effulgence of prema. This illuminates us out of this forest, this material forest. So yeah, we want to leave the material forest, material existence, and we want to enter that spiritual forest, or you want to say Vrindavan. So you're leaving one forest and going to another one. It's a different forest. So the way one is able to do that, to leave one forest and enter another, is by engaging their body, mind, and words in Krishna's service. And if you think about the principle of sannyas, which means full dedication or full renunciation, means renouncing the the bad idea or the wrong idea that I'm an enjoyer of this world, I'm a big enjoyer of this world, or I'm a big renouncer of this world. But accepting the idea that everything's meant for Krishna's pleasure, and I'm gonna sacrifice everything for Krishna and the devotees, then yeah, this is the principle. We engage our body, mind, and words in Krishna's service, and everyone's meant to do that, whether they accept formal sannyas or not. But if one accepts formal sannyas, if they don't engage their body, mind, and words, then they'll surely fall down. Maybe not grossly, like becoming a materialist or whatever it may be, or giving up the ashram, but or maybe one does. But one will fall. And it's interesting because that's the nice thing about it, because you're actually forced just to like give everything. Is you have to expend the full energy of the body, the full energy of the mind, the full energy of the words, or else it doesn't work. It doesn't work for oneself. I mean, one could maybe, if you want to say trick others, or however you want to see that, but it just practically doesn't work for oneself. They won't be happy, they won't be satisfied in that ashram. And very high likely they'll just fall into illusion and different, yeah, they will. But the similar principles in the brahmacharya ashram, many of the principles found in the sannyasa ashram are found in the brahmacharya ashram. And that one is, I don't want to say expected, because when you say expected, it's like, well, what do you mean expected? What did I sign up for? You guys didn't tell me that in the beginning, to give everything. You just told me to have a good time. But if one wants to continue happily as a brahmachari, then that principle of expending as much energy as possible, mental, physical, in terms of one's words, is a very important principle. And it doesn't mean you do things unintelligently. Of course, you have to take care of health, your material health, and of the body, and so on. That's part of expending energy, actually. It's combined, expending the physical energy of the body through, for example, exercise. That's part of the program. So if one, because one is seeing the body as a tool that needs to be kept functioning properly to the best ability. So yeah, this principle is very important in the brahmacharya ashram as well. One has to give as much as possible in an intelligent way, not in a way that destroys one, physically or mentally. It's a very balanced way. And if we think of Srila Prabhupada, he's mentioning here the different incarnations appearing and why they're appearing and so on. He says the scripture compares them to like waves in an ocean. They just keep on coming. No one could count them. I mean, yeah, you just literally can't count them. Because if you fall asleep while you're counting them, you're going to miss some. Right, because one wave, 2 wave, 3 wave, 4 wave. I don't know, how long can you sit there and count the waves? 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. Eventually you have to sleep at one point. So then you're going to miss some of the waves. And you lost count. I guess you could get somebody else. You could take turns, right? But who's going to waste their time on such a thing? You just can't count them. So similarly, it's an interesting point that you can't count the incarnations of Krishna. They just unlimited incarnations. We have an idea from the Bhagavatam, but you can't count them. But of course, as Srila Prabhupada stressed many times, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said that quite a lot. I think he said hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So not you, not me, not Sai Baba, not Ram Krishna, not this person, that person, Nityananda Paramahamsa, or this person or that person. There's probably some new gods on the market today. Somebody woke up and they decided, okay, now it's time for me to assume my role as the personality of Godhead and advertise it widely. Hopefully I get some money from it. So no ordinary living entity can claim that position, but only Krishna has that position. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is what Srila Prabhupada, some devotees say that this was his Maha Vakya. Maha is like great, and Vakya means statement or declaration, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we see that in his pranam mantra, which Srila Prabhupada personally wrote. Usually disciples write the pranam mantra based on the Guru's qualities, but Prabhupada wrote his own pranam mantra, that he's coming to the Western worlds and delivering the worlds from impersonalism and voidism. On the spreading the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a servant of Saraswati Goswami, his Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we see that this was very important in Srila Prabhupada's mind, to establish Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not you, not me, not any of these other people who claim to be. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he worked very hard to establish that. Just like, for example, some scholar, he read Srila Prabhupada's books. Devotees say this from time to time, but he read Srila Prabhupada's books and he said, yeah, I read your Swami's books, and on each page and so many times, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so on. And he said, and then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, he's understood my tactic, that you cannot squeeze anything else out of these books besides bhakti, besides surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You just can't do it. With other books, you can. Other Bhagavad Gitas, definitely you can. But Prabhupada's, you cannot. So this was his mission, and to deliver people from voidism and personalism that comes in all different types of forms. So similarly, it is our mission to give this knowledge as far as possible, first of all, to live this knowledge as far as possible. It's very important. Don't just give, but live, right? You gotta live, we have to live the knowledge. And then give the knowledge to others. We have to live it as far as possible, then give it to as many people as possible. And there's plenty of people to give it to. And this is also a recipe for ecstasy, or recipe for getting close to achieving the goal of life, is that we try to give it, live it, and give it as much as possible. And surely Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, surely Nityananda Prabhu will bless us, that's for sure, if we try to give it to others. And as some devotees have made the point sometimes that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they're especially merciful, as we know, but their mercy is especially, they're especially attracted to giving people mercy in difficult parts of the world. Just like Lord Nityananda, right? He's famous for delivering Tara Sakshi Jagai Madai. Who's the example of who was delivered by the mercy of the holy name, Jagai Madai? Who were cow killers and they would burn people's houses, they would kill people. I mean, it's pretty serious. I mean, they're really serious. Killing people, burning people's houses, killing cows, all the sinful. Actually, in the Bhakti, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, in a purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he outlines all the sinful activities that one could engage in. And they're pretty, it's kind of difficult to read because there's a lot of sinful activities. Like, oh, that's like real, it's very gross and, you know. So anyways, he outlines all of them. And it says these brothers, they did everything, all the sinful activities. So Nityananda Prabhu delivered them. So there's certain capitals of the world, like Southern California. It's a capital of the world. Yes, there's many pious people roaming around, but still, it's a, you know, Kali has a very, or Maya has a very strong hold on this place. Just like Gold Coast of Australia, or yeah, whatever, just different places throughout the world. She has a stronghold. So, if we're trying to give out mercy here, then we attract the special mercy of Gaura Nitai because it's a difficult place. So in other words, we can make a lot of advancement like that. So it's very nice. So we want to establish that. So we do that by living it and by giving Srila Prabhupada's books and by all different types of activities. All right, so does anybody have any question? Thank you
for the class.
Okay, you're welcome.
I have two questions actually. So the first one is, how can we break like this mentality that we gave up doing something, and we're like out of that, but when we see it, we're like, oh, this is
like material enjoyment.
Yeah. This is I don't know. This is like calling me again, right? So you think like, oh, this time is gonna be different, right? This time is gonna really like satisfy me. So like this, that's like the mentality when you give up something, that oh, I'm like you're missing out.
All right, that's the first one. Okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. So Maya has two potencies. One is to grab and throw down. Which one comes first? Is the covering and then covering and then throwing? Covering and then throwing. God, sounds like really. It's a mean job to have, huh? Jeez. So covering, you can just imagine, just like it's like you grab somebody's, you know, you have a good sweater for that. I mean, of course we wouldn't do this, but grab somebody's sweater and, you know, cover them over like this, you know, from the back, and just, you know, throw them down, you know. So it's covering, you know, Maya just covers one's knowledge and then just throws one down. So those are the two potencies. So we could understand how difficult it is to get out of Maya. And she's powerful. I mean, everyone's under the control of Maya in the material world. I mean, practically speaking. So it's not easy to get out of Maya. So powerful. So due to some amazing good fortune, we have developed the receptivity, you know, to lend our ears, to engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness to you know, whatever degree we're doing that. That's our great fortune. and we're getting a little chance, a little window. We are not so covered. We're not so down in the depths of the mode of ignorance like an animal, or we're not so covered that we can't engage in Krishna consciousness. Some people are. There's many people who are. But we, somehow or other, by the mercy of devotees and good fortune, we have come to the point where we can engage ourselves a bit. So the idea is that with whatever time we have in good consciousness, that's why the morning's so important, the morning program. It's not a blind ritualistic activity, or like something we just check off the box. All right, I did that today. Took my vitamins and I what else? I don't know. Took my vitamins, drank 8 glasses of water, just checked off the morning program. Jaya. But it's not a blind ritualistic activity. It's an activity that is very powerfully created by Srila Prabhupada, the morning program, and which has the 5 most potent forms of devotional service: hearing Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, chanting the holy name, worshipping the deities in a holy place, and 5 potent forms. So if we have come to the point where we have we're not just completely knocked out, on the what do you call, like boxing ring, just on the floor, drooling, all bruised up. If we're up, we got a little energy, then we should fight. Therefore, japa in the morning, the whole morning program, it helps us. It helps us develop that strength. And then, gradually, when we come in contact with, like you said, things that might have attracted us in the past, we think, oh, forget about it. It takes time. I'm not going to say it happens overnight. Sometimes it does. Actually, the Prabhupada said you could be Krishna conscious in 1 minute. But generally it takes some time. But we can completely be free. Just like someone might have been very attached to smoking ganja, for example. Maybe that might have not been somebody's thing, but it might have been somebody's thing. And then somebody says, oh, here, man, take a puff. You're out on book distribution or something. I got some good stuff. Hey, man, you're a nice guy. I'll trade you. Here, take some ganji. You can take a book. Like, all right, for Prabhupada service, sure. Just joking. I'll take the bullet, Prabhu's. Just joking. But you may be offered that. I know devotees have been offered. Maybe some of you here have been offered that. I've been offered that on book distribution, and I didn't take it. By the way. But you've been offered? You've been offered, Govardhan? Yeah. You too, Sankarshan? Oh, wow. Okay. You too?
No, not marijuana.
Something else? Okay. Now, if somebody is not strong, I know devotees who've been offered those things, and they took it, I know devotees have been offered those things by devotees. One of our picnics. And they take them. So, but what I'm saying is that if somebody really tries to surrender to the morning program and really chants and hears and the Bhagavad, they really take shelter, then they develop that strength, and then they're able to gradually develop that strength. Just know. And of course, if they don't have that strength, then they should stay away from those places, where people are offering those things. Maybe they better just stay at the temple and do some service or something. Did you have another one?
Thank you. And then the other one I have is until what point you should push yourself or know your limits, to don't get start degrading yourself because you're struggling like that, but doing your best effort.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone has certain inclinations, so based on those inclinations, devotees, they engage in different services, usually more over time, based on their general inclinations. So if somebody likes doing something and then they're good at it, then they could really dedicate themselves and really push themselves. Of course, there's so many things to factor in. Some people have weaker bodies, some people have stronger bodies. Some people, their minds are able to process like heavy loads of problems, for example. Just like not everyone's meant to be a mentor or a counselor for people. Some people just can't handle that. They hear one problem and they're just like, their brain just like starts overloading, and it could destroy some people actually. That's why there's a great emphasis on trying to find what is one's inclination, because they could really do a lot when one understands, the best service that they could be engaged in. But ultimately, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be sincere with ourselves, and honest and sincere means, can I do more or should I do less? We have to be honest with ourselves. And intelligent, by chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srila Prabhupada's books and having purified intelligence. And by taking guidance from devotees. We could ask them, what do you think? So it's okay, Dijamani.
I kind of had a similar question and then another one too. You were speaking about expanding yourself, and I think you're a really good example at expanding yourself, like staying up late and sacrificing certain things.
I don't know if that's a good example.
And
go to sleep early.
I'm just wondering if when you try to expand yourself and when you're trying to push yourself to a certain limit, what do you face as an objection? Is that some kind of a limitation of your personal qualities, or is that some kind of a demonic side of yours that says, no, don't do that. Rather you do something else. You rest, or you take short in other things, but don't expand yourself. Is that intelligence? Is that something different that tells you these things?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Thank you. So yeah, when you're in the process of pushing yourself, when you hear that voice say, hey, don't do it, like, this is too much, like, go back to the temple and take rest, or... I mean, maybe at times it could just be our mind, it could be something we just need to push aside and say, no, forget about that. Like, we're out here distributing books. I'm not going to, like, go back to the temple and, like, rest or something. Like, just, we're going to distribute and then we're going to go back later, So that might be a case, So that's there, but still, in the same person, the same thought may come up and say, hey, you're pushing yourself, you need to take a little rest. That might be, if I want to say the super soul, it might be one's intelligence, saying that, and it may be a good idea. So yeah, like in each and every living entity, for each and every person, they probably have a mix of that going on. Sometimes it's one's intelligence, or you want to say the super soul, and sometimes it's just the mind. But I guess we could say that within the material world, there's a tendency to try to avoid surrender. We could accept that that's the general tendency. So therefore, that training of surrendering to difficult things and pushing oneself a bit is very good, because then one could get past that. And then it seems that it's easier to understand over time. Is this my mind saying, take rest or don't push yourself so much, or is this my intelligence, or is this the super soul saying? So it seems that we have more of a ability to discern that. There's also the principle of training. I mean, just like when people join the temple, it's difficult for them to get up in the morning usually. That's a common thing. But then you push yourself, we push ourselves, and it just becomes habitual, and we become used to it by training. Like Tamal Krishna Goswami had a disciple who was very elderly, Vidura, in Los Angeles. I remember seeing him a few times actually. Vidura and Manjari. They come to... But he used to wake up like really early in the morning, like at 2 a.m. in the morning, and he would come and he would like make wicks for the deities, and he'd chant and do all these things. And he fell down a few times on the road, crossing the street to go to the temple. And he was telling his guru that it's difficult for him. I'm not used to waking up so early. But he said he trained himself. He just pushed himself and kind of, went through it. And then he got used to it. And the Srila Prabhupada said that with Tamal Krishna Goswami also in relation to reducing sleep. Because Maharaj asked him, Prabhupada, about how are we supposed to do that. And Prabhupada said, he said by training. He said, like, I trained myself. Training means there's some difficulty. Does everyone need to reduce their sleep? And we're not going to get into how much people sleep and how much they need to reduce or maybe increase. That's another thing. But yeah. So, but in terms of knowing, is this my mind or is this the super soul? In many ways, it's best not to try to figure that out oneself, especially for very serious very serious topics, like choices in life. Definitely don't want to just rely on oneself. We don't want to rely on ourselves for that. Therefore, we have devotees, to ask, what do you think? Good, solid devotees to ask, and they could help us understand better. So,
is that okay if I ask another question?
All right.
You were also speaking about how sannyasi, he renounced things with a different kind of angle, at a different angle. Like he renounces everything.
Yeah.
For devotees and for Krishna.
Yeah.
And then I'm just thinking that all the devotees are also trying to renounce things to the best degree they can, with some training and some sanction as the Grihastha ashram, for example.
Yeah.
So everyone is doing the same thing, but why is the sannyas ashram different from the rest of the...
Okay. Yeah, I mean, traditionally it was extremely different than it is now, and it's morphed into how it is now, which nowadays it has more emphasis on preaching, whereas previously it was more just like going to the forest. Now there's more emphasis on meeting with people. Previously it was like avoiding people. Previously you just like literally renounced everything, like you just didn't really engage in the world or with any like objects. Now there's a principle where you could engage everything, all types of objects in Krishna service and so on. So it has radically changed. But yeah, I mean the sannyasi and the grihastha, they're both practicing Krishna consciousness, but the difference is that the sannyasi, they have made that vow to not really engage with this world, whereas the grihastha is still engaged with this world in terms of family, children, wife. It's not easy to give up attachments. Actually, there's a very big tendency for people to be attached to their wife or to their kids and to the home and all of these different things. So sannyasi lives free from that. He doesn't have any attachments. Of course, sannyasi can develop attachment to, other things, as we heard the other day from Govardhan or Ramanujacharya, that they can be attached to other things. But they're not attached to that. And if we really talk about someone who's really following the principles of sannyasa, they're not attached to anything materially. And they vowed never to get involved with that again. Never to go back on that. Grihastas, they could be involved. There's a license for that. Vanaprasthas, different degrees. They could, they're also, working on that specific detachment. But brahmacharis, but sannyasis, they're expected just to be completely free from those things. And if not absolutely free, they have to be free to a particular degree. And aside from being free to a particular degree, they have to be trying to be completely free. So, and specifically this, the attraction between male and female, that whole, thing. So, all right. Okay, last. Covered on.
Thank you, Balaram. It's a little related to sannyas also. During the first portion of your lecture, I was very inspired to renounce my family, I don't want to be a Griha Maidi anymore, My wife, she doesn't listen to me. My kids are doing their own thing, So what is the process of me taking sannyas? Can I just do it by myself?
Well, you could follow Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada said, I don't think he didn't say anything actually. He just left. He packed his things and he left. And his family thought, oh well, surely he'll come. Our father, surely my husband, he'll come home. But he didn't come home. Said that Prabhupada went to his godbrother's temple. I forgot who. I think it was maybe Bhakti Pragya, I'm not sure, but he was there chanting a lot. Prabhupada was chanting. He said he was chanting like day and night on his beads. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. If one's in that situation, then they have to make arrangements to get out in different ways. There's different ways of going about it. Not that everybody has to take sannyas, but there should be some arrangements for it. Vanaprastha, traveling to the holy places and so on, and maybe a man moves to a temple here or there, and does service or separates from his wife in that way. But that's why those who decide to engage in that grihastha ashram, they have to start planning once they enter it, how to retire, means how to, financially, in terms of the wife being taken care of, in terms of themselves, being able to be more free later on, rather than, ongoing working, which is, not recommended. So, yeah, as a society, we need more work in helping. We need more organization in terms of helping devotees with that, vanaprastha stage. But, where there's a will, there's a way. So if somebody's in that situation, it's possible to, yeah. Okay. All right, Granted Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.